Welcome. I hope everyone is doing fine. Thank you very much for coming to today's presentation that will describe the Democratic Republic of Congo and how to do business with them. If you have any questions, please leave them for the end, and I hope you will learn something new today. I will give the word to Gauthier now, who will give a brief overview of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Thank you for the introduction, Samy. So I'll be going over the overview of the Democratic Republic of Congo, then we'll have a look at the neighboring countries, animal life, and finally we'll have a look at what the political landscape is like in Congo. So first off, the motto in Congo is justice, peace, and work. The official language is French, and the current president is Félix Tshisekedi. The population consists of 89.5 million people, and its main industries are mining, mineral processing, timber, and commercial ship repair. Congo's GDP is currently 49.8 billion US dollars, and the currency that is used is the Congolese franc. When comparing it to euro, the exchange rate is about 1 euro and 2,270 Congolese franc. In terms of time zones, depending on where you are in Congo, it differs with around 1 to 2 plus hours compared to GMT. The size of Congo is 2.3 million square kilometers, making it the 11th largest country in the world. Congo's capital city is Kinshasa and has a population of around 17 million. You can see a picture of Kinshasa on the left. Moving on to the neighboring countries, there's 9 of them to be specific. In the north, we have Central African Republic and South Sudan. To the east, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania. Then to the south, we have Zambia. To the southwest, Angola. And finally, to the west, there is Congo-Brazzaville. Now, in terms of animal life is very lush and diverse in Congo. Many of the animals and exotic plants in Congo can be found in the complex jungle system known as the equatorial rainforest. It is also home to one of the largest animals on Earth, the African forest animal, as well as the endangered silverback gorilla. There's actually only about 1,000 left of them in the wild. But Congo just doesn't only have a rainforest. There's also savanna woodlands where apex predators such as lions, leopards, and hyenas can be found, together with rhinos, hippos, giraffes, and buffaloes, and many more. Finally, the political landscape. So currently, Congo is a semi-presidential state, meaning that the president exists alongside a prime minister and a cabinet. The president, as I mentioned before, is Félix Tshisekedi. He was elected in January of 2019, and the president in Congo is simply elected by majority vote, and he serves for 5 years. The president in Congo can, however, also be selected for a second term, so when the next election is held in 2023, Tshisekedi could be elected again. Now, in terms of the government is made up out of 3 branches. We have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and judicial branch. The executive branch, its role is to carry out and enforce laws. The legislative branch, its role is to be in charge of policy making and to oversee the duties of the prime minister. And then finally, the judicial branch, its role is to review cases concerning constitution, and also it consists of 2 high courts.
The DRC's economic growth has declined since 2019 to 2021. The growth fell from 4.4% in 2019 to an estimated 0.8% in 2020. This is mostly due to a slowdown of supply of goods and marketing activities as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. With crop production and food processing being the largest employing industry in the country, employment is more attainable in the agriculture sector, while unemployment rate is steadily increasing and projected to reach 36% by the end of 2021. The required documents you would need in order to start up a business in the Democratic Republic of Congo would be submitting a business plan, which you would have to do that to the National Agency for Investment Promotion. acquiring a residence permit, opening a capital account with a local bank. And a plus point here is the National Agency for Investment Promotion actually provides assistance to investors who are interested in doing business in DRC. So you will definitely have people that will guide you through the process. Next, we will talk about the types of businesses you can set up in DR Congo and its start capital amount. One is the sole proprietorship, also known as individual trader. This is a type of business owned and run by one person. Its capital starts at a maximum of $2,000 to about $100,000, depending on the business sector. Depending on the business sector and the type of company you want to set up also. The individual trader must pay a $40 additional fee to receive a national identification number, a business registration, and authorization to open a business. With this type, entrepreneur is required to present identity documents, a proof of solvency document, a criminal record certificate for the native country, a residence permit, and a proof of the address and also the business address, certificate document of the trade and personal credit register, a certificate of registration for the National Employment Office, and lastly, a tax number from the Directorate General of Taxes and Capital Bank account statement. So for the limited liability company itself, this can be established by one or more individuals as shareholders. The minimum share capital amount required is $2,000. In addition, the minimum value for each share is $10. Second type under limited liability company is the public limited company. This company can also be managed by one or more shareholders and requires a statutory auditor. The minimum capital for this type is, however, $20,000 and a $200,000 if the company wants to make public offering of its shares. The last type is the simplified joint stock company. This company type is similar to limited liability company. It gives more flexibility to the company's board of directors on how shares are transferred. The minimum capital per a shareholder, on the other hand, is usually the equivalent of one share. It could be intellectual property rights, fixed assets, or cash. A director of the company is required to be appointed. Shareholders have the right to vote on decisions, the right to dividends, and the right to information regarding the company. The third type of business setup would be unlimited liability companies. Under this type, there are also three. One is the collectively owned company, which is a private partnership type in which all shareholders jointly share in profit and liable for debts. The director of the company can be a board, and the shareholder can be non-active in business dealings. The second one is a limited partnership. This is very similar to collectively owned company. However, there must be at least one active shareholding partner operating the business. And lastly, the economic interest grouping. This compresses different companies with similar interests teaming up to make up an individual corporate entity.
Next thing, I will be talking about the right locations where you as a business can operate into different sectors. So, first of all, the best place would be the capital Kinshasa. But if an investor is interested in mining sectors and wants to trade minerals, then the best locations would be Lubumbashi or Buchimai. For those who are interested in importing or exporting goods, then it's best to locate your business in Matadi. And lastly, companies operating in the forestry sectors would be best located in Kisangani. Next thing I will be talking about will be the different cultural aspects between Congo and Belgium. So obviously the starting point for a winning strategy in the global trade and business is by having a basic understanding for different cultures. Both Congo and Belgium each have their own cultures. However, there is one noticeable difference between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Belgium. Belgians tend to be more individual, whereas people from Congo are based on collectivism, which means to work as a group, putting a central focus on family and communities. Also, according to the Lewis model, which is a model of 3 categories based on behaviors, the Republic of Congo is placed in the multi-active category and Belgium tends to be in between multi-active and linear active. So when it comes to doing business in Congo as a foreigner, it is very important to understand what their business etiquette is. It is essential to understand how you can approach a Congolese businessman successfully without offending them in any way, because what may seem innocent to you could be meant as an offense to them. Hereby, some things to remember. It is very important to dress formal and smart. Maybe learn a few words of French. They will really appreciate that. Do not be shocked if meetings are suddenly cancelled or delayed, and especially do not rush into decision making.
As the country has a young and rapidly growing workforce, it is important to create sufficient jobs for the young population. The challenge wouldn't be to reduce unemployment, but to tackle inactivity and underemployment. The Congolese government needs to focus on an increase in mostly skilled but also educated workers. Further, they also need to drastically improve the working conditions for all the Congolese workers, as current working conditions are abysmal. There are a lot of risks when starting a business in Congo or even investing in Congo. Some of them are the political instability, high import taxes, low consumer spending, a high inflation rate, a shortage in skilled personnel, and also a lack of electricity. But if you are willing to invest in Congo, despite all the risks, there are plenty of good opportunities to invest in Congo, as it could be very easy to establish a monopoly in Congo due to the fact that our infrastructure is lagging so much behind and that there aren't a lot of businesses competing with you. Agriculture is one of the business sectors you could get a nice return from, but also from power generation facilities and infrastructure and transportation. The laws and regulations in Congo can be divided into 3 branches, which are public law, private law, and economic law. The vision of Congo is to strive for a better future for the citizens, to overcome corruption, unify and consolidate its armed force, and to ensure freedom of assembly and freedom of speech for each citizen.